Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today in front of us I've got a really fun custom Lego build. We are looking at a modular theater creation from the designer Lucas, the same guy that brought you the antique store / ice cream parlor modular building, is another wonderfully ornate and tasteful build that represents what I'm going to assume is a rather old theater, maybe something that had existed for several generations in the town. The architecture style matches pretty similar to a lot of other buildings that you may have seen from the modular line, so of course it integrates with buildings of the same size quite well. And like the antique shop / ice cream parlor, you can get the building instructions if you wanted to make this on your own. You can find them at our web store, www.brickvault.toys. It's a great way to help support what we do here at the channel, as well as the very talented designers that we work with, like Lucas. Included is a PDF step-by-step building guide. There's actually multiple in this one because you can choose to build it with or without those front faces. And if you're not so big on interiors, you can have an alternate version of the build that saves some pieces and doesn't really flesh out the inside so much. A quick aside, we actually made an alternate as well for the ice cream parlor / antique store for those that just want to have a nice visual piece that's laid up against several others. But anyways, yeah, included are instructions as well as a parts list for ordering all the pieces that you would need online. So anyways, great way to help support what we do here at the channel. Highly recommend you click the link in the description below if you're interested. And let's get into some of the nicer details of this model. So you can see the primary color is dark tan. There's a lot of olive green as well, especially when you can see it from the sides. And the windows have a nice way of popping out as quite light on the second floor and also the top spires because they're outlined in tan yet surrounded entirely by some white, ornate, sort of flashy detailing. Also, to me, the building has a way of looking a bit tall because it's about the same size as you might expect compared to a lot of the other modular sets that are out there. But really, this is just a two-story build because the interior is quite roomy, as many theaters usually are with high ceilings. So the exterior has the ability to have just a little bit more space between those modular chunks that you can take on and off. So the windows are very, very tall on the second floor, and even the doors and windows on the first floor are actually much taller than that of the average door that you might see. Let's say, for example, in the front, the door is much, much bigger and much, much broader compared to what you would actually get from a Lego little clip-on door. I suppose it's time to start focusing on some of the closer details. We might as well start at the bottom. There are some simple bench builds on either side of the main entrance there. 3 layers of white steps with some nice curves that actually matches up with the white tile on the interior. Your standard white lamppost that you see in just about all of the modular creator sets, and a wonderful build for a couple of swinging doors. You can see how the white tile detailing on the steps bleeds into the white detailing on the inside. The function itself for opening and closing is really nice. It's a very, very strong feeling, not quite like how you'd have the swinging doors that are normally clipped in. There's a little bit of friction there. And hold off, we're going to get to the interior, but not just yet. When it comes to the second floor on the outside, there's a lot more brightness. There's a lot more white included, larger windows, and you can create this build without the very Lego-ified minifigure heads on the outside, but we wanted to kind of keep it in line with a lot of the other modular sets and also make this very obviously a theater if you were to just walk by the city or something like that. There is a pretty dead giveaway what's going on the inside when you see these two dramatic masks. It's a pretty simple build. They just hang on there with one stud, and if you wanted to take them off, it's no problem. Aside from that, there's some wonderful detailing with those little 1x1 gray tiles in the front, somewhat of a balcony on either side, though there's no doors that actually open out to there. You just kind of have to place a figure there, and lots of wonderful arch pieces used as decoration on top of all of those windows. Now let's jump to the very top part of the build where you have these two twin spires. I like the detailing with the white clips and 3L bar pieces on the outsides of those windows there. A simple yet pretty smooth build that makes up the coned tops, and you can also see a skylight built in as well. Now flipping the whole build down towards the back, this is a theater, and sometimes modular buildings will have a little bit more space, but Lucas really needed as much as possible in order to get as much depth into this building so you could have an actual theater space on the inside, so it goes all the way to the very edge of that 32 by 32. Still managed to fit some nice little slope detailings there with the black bit of the roof. Righto, now it's time to jump inside the model. Like I said before, because it's a theater, there is just 2 stories, and both the roofs, or the ceilings I should say, are quite open. In fact, fact, above the theater itself, it's completely open and you can see the first row. And then there is a single VIP box that sits in the very center on the second floor. When you take a closer look, you can see the VIP sitting there. Don't look into it too hard, I suppose, but really what I want to focus on are the nice ornate details that you can see just above the theater itself. I like the croissant pieces used. We've got some flowery plants on either side. This is very, very VIP, just space for one exclusive member. And you can also see that red detailing there towards the end are some stairs that leads up towards the window. In fact, the window itself here doesn't disconnect at all. And now you have a pretty good look at what the dual staircases looks like. Similar to sort of a red carpet, not quite. There's some black outlining, which is nice. Similar tile detailing towards the front entrance like you saw from earlier. And then 2 rows of seats. Considering the space on a 32 by 32, I found that pretty impressive. The fact that Lucas managed to fit in both a staging area, stage, and seats is pretty nice. So all said and done, including the VIP, there's only 10 seats, which means this whole theater is actually quite exclusive. And then twisting this model around, you can see the single actor up on stage and a very, very neutral backdrop. If you wanted to, you could replace some of those gray bricks with ones that have studs on there, and you could make your own details for the background if you liked. And there's also a space for you to stand in the back, I suppose, if you couldn't get a seat on your own. All in all, this reminds me a bit of the townhouse, how there's a completely open section of this building that goes all the way to the roof. And just like that one, there was actually also a skylight included, if I remember correctly. And then this, I suppose, is maybe the handling section of the video. Any type of modular building shouldn't be weak at all. In fact, this is built very much like a brick. None of the extremities want to break off, and it's extremely easy to put back together or take apart. Now, contextually, it's nice to see what this model looks like when it's sandwiched between other modular creator sets. Some of these designs here are customs, while others are official Lego, and it's nice to have a combination of some brighter colors for certain builds, along with the more muted and mostly realistic, or at least more common colors like you might see in everyday life. Now, currently, we don't have the city in anywhere near a complete stage. In fact, it's still very much just kind of being played around with, so you can see lots of extra cars, and it doesn't look super clean cut, and there aren't a lot of dioramas, but a lot of the buildings are in place, so you can see a bit of context with this modular creator building laid in with the rest of the others. Now, in hindsight, next to the Grand Emporium, I feel like the color combinations aren't, they're a little bit too similar, and there's also minifigure head builds right next to each other as well, so I'll probably split those up in the future. I think the color variation could be a little bit more evenly spread, and frankly, the minifigure heads on this just look so much better than the one depicted in the sign. But anyways, there you go. That's the building in context, in the context of a city. I know a lot of people like to line their modulars up on top of shells, which also looks amazing. And before I sign off, I give you guys the opportunity to guess the name of this play that's currently happening in the theater. I might have made it a little bit too obvious, but anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like or subscribe. And of course, if you wanted to buy the instructions, once again, www.brickvault.toys is where you can find them. Link in the description below. Let me know what types of custom builds you'd like to see in the future. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.